Hey, and welcome to our online training of good and bad survey item design. My name's Lindsay. I'm a graduate student at the University of Minnesota studying organizational leadership and policy development with an emphasis in evaluation studies. As an evaluator, I know the important role surveys can play in collecting the beliefs and attitudes of stakeholders whose opinions often matter the most at improving our programming. That's why it's so important that we be intentional when we design our survey and survey items. In today's training, we'll review and discuss various survey design principles. After reviewing a principle, we'll take a survey item example and discuss ways we can improve the item by implementing the survey design principle. Let's get into our first example. Our first survey design principle is to avoid leading questions. Leading questions might influence a respondent in one direction of an argument or another. It's best to use neutral wording that does not bias the respondent in one direction or the other. Let's take a look at our first example. Our first item reads, how would you rate the highly acclaimed programming at the ABC school? In this item, describing the ABC programming as highly acclaimed might bias the respondent to believe the programming is good or strong. When drafting survey items, we want to use neutral wording to ensure respondents are not biased towards one direction of an argument or the other. A better version of this survey item might read, how would you rate the programming you received at the ABC school? Our second survey design principle is to avoid loaded questions and ensure every survey item includes a response that would accurately reflect the opinion of the respondent. This might mean we need to make our questions more general or broad. Let's take a look at our second survey item example. Our second item reads, what coffee shop on campus do you use to study? This item assumes the respondent studies on campus and at coffee shops, when perhaps the respondent might study at locations off campus other than coffee shops. We can improve this item through pre-testing to ensure every respondent has a way to accurately answer the question. In doing so, we might choose to expand the question and instead ask, where do you study? Our third survey design principle is to avoid double-barreled questions. Double-barreled questions ask the participant to respond to two items or two questions in one survey item. It is best practice to ask a participant to only respond to one question in each item. For example, our third survey item asks, how satisfied or unsatisfied are you with the programming and staff at ABC school? This question asks respondents about both programming and staff at ABC school. Having two subjects in one item may be confusing to respondents and lead to inaccurate responses. It would be better for the survey to ask about programming in one item and staff in another item, so respondents are only answering about one thing or one subject at a time. Our fourth survey design principle is to avoid the use of absolutes in survey items. Absolutes include words such as always, every, and all, which force respondents into all or nothing thinking. In our fourth survey item example, we ask, do you always attend daily meetings? This could be improved by allowing instead to ask participants how many days a week they attend daily meetings. This allows respondents to choose a solution that more accurately represents the frequency at which they attend meetings. Our next survey design principle is to use clear, concise, and uncomplicated language that avoids the use of jargon. Take, for example, the next survey item example. How likely is your organization to access the services at CMHS? Using CMHS might be confusing to respondents who do not know this specific concept or term. A better way to ask this question is to define CMHS in the item. The Center for Mental Health Services supports outreach and case management programs for homeless Americans. You can access program improvement resources by contacting the Chief of Home Programs branch at 000-111-222. How likely is your organization to access the services at CMHS? This comes down to really knowing your audience and tailoring your language to fit their survey needs. Our last survey design principle has to do with response categories. Response categories must be both mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Mutually exclusive means that each response category does not overlap with the other response categories. For response categories to be exhaustive means enough responses have been provided that every possible survey participant has a response available to them that reflects their true attitude or opinion. These are two examples that highlight response categories that are both mutually exclusive and exhaustive. You can test a question, and if more than 10% of respondents select an other category, possible answers have most likely been missed. It will be helpful for you to go back and review the text responses to the other category and add the most frequently cited responses as another possible response category. These are just a few examples of survey design principles that you can incorporate into your next survey.